Hey guys, this is a video I've been talking about making for a while. If you're wondering where I was the last few days, I was actually spending a lot of time making the new channel intro and kind of got carried away with that. But speaking about this, yeah, we're talking about Renfri, and I think first I want to share what my last games have looked like. So this is the last 175 games I've played. We have 17% of them were hand buff Renfri. These, not as much anymore, but definitely very common in the earlier part of this data set. Then we've got the double cross Renfri, always very popular. You know how it is, they make a bunch of Renfris, shuffle back in their deck with a Sira, and then they try and get Renfris from you with the Spying and Artud. Another deck that was really common was the Pirate Renfri. This one's been more popular lately, at least in my experience. So Onslaught, Renfri, all that good stuff. And then we've got what's it called? The perennial favorite, Vampire Renfri. This is also a newer one. Haven't seen tons of this, but definitely seen a lot of it more lately. Get a bunch of value from the Vampire stuff, then replace it with the Renfri leaders. Then we got Mill Renfri. This is the one I was thinking about being everyone's favorite. Yeah, Mill Renfri, I've had a fair amount of, but again, it's not super common compared to the other ones. Then, in addition to the Mill Renfri, we've got the fantastic Sea Hill Renfri, the 26 card one. I've also seen 27 cards, only once though, so I threw that one in here too. But yeah, Sea Hill Renfri, definitely a thing as well. And I think that's all the individual Renfri decks here. All the data on here, by the way, there's got the Sir Scratch coming in, by the way, with 18% of my games. It had one less game total than Double Cross Renfri, just how the rounding worked out. They were both 18%. But yeah, every deck here is the decks I've played 6 or more times in the past 175 games. Endless Voyage, another one. We got a fair amount of Endless Voyage games. Again, more common lately than earlier. And then we've got 2 more decks left here. Well, just one more deck, and that's Mill. Mill, regular Mill with no Renfri. And these last 2 ones are called Other. These are the decks I've placed 6 or less times. I combine them into these other categories. So other non-Renfri, only 3% of my games were against non-Renfri decks, except for the ones listed here, obviously. And then that leaves this last block here, where the other decks that used Renfri, they're like 10% or so. So yeah, if we take a look, this is what we're looking at here for my last 175 games. Like I said, I don't want to get to like 200 or 300, but come on, I can't. I just ran out of time. So yeah, this is what we have at 175 games. It's not the biggest sample size. It just gives an idea of what I was going up against here. Now, even against like Erendite stuff, when Erendite Gold Necker is popular, I tracked that then, and it wasn't as common as this, because there's a fair amount of decks here, right? Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different decks that I've played 6 or more times. I just chose that number because the graph got too crowded otherwise. And then here's the problem though, if we split this, this is what it looks like if we take all of the Renfri decks and all the non-Renfri decks and split them up. 69%. Nice, right? 69% of our games were against Renfri. And for me at least, that's just too many, got really boring. Especially because she's a neutral card and not like Ownermancy or Heatwave where it's just a utility card. Renfri kind of makes the deck, like a deck defining card. Kind of like the Golden Necker Erendite stuff used to be, except this is, so it was like 40%, a little under 40% of my games for Erendite Golden Necker. It's almost twice as common, which is ridiculous. And then this doesn't even quite tell the whole story of what I want to point out here, is that it looks diverse, but if we add in the Sir Scratch a lot here in the green, and we look at this, then we've got, if we have 13% of the games are against non-Renfri, non-Sir Scratch-a-lot decks. And that's kind of crazy, honestly. So while there's a bunch of different Renfri decks, there's really not that much diversity in my games here. So like, I don't hate this as much as some people do. Like I didn't quit the game or anything, but I do find this super annoying and honestly quite boring. But as far as that goes, like this is just an example of what I've gone against. Let me know if you guys have something similar. But talking about this, what is the point here? Well, Renfri, right? We want to talk about Renfri. So there's a few ways the developers balance cards. There's provisions, there's power, there's ability changes. That's pretty much everything, right? So for stuff, they usually try and go with the provision or power change when it's too strong. And anyone who tries telling Renfri's too strong, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Although I have heard the argument. But yeah, provisions I don't think is going to help too much here, because you'd have to make her, even if she was comparable to a scenario, which she almost is, she's like 15 or something, I still think people would run her. And that's not great. And the other thing is they change her power. It also, I don't think, will make too much of a difference, although if you do both, it can have an effect. Like we saw the Ring of Favor, right? People thought the Ring of Favor change might not be enough when they gained a provision and it lost one of its boosts. It was pretty effective. But yeah, so there's not necessarily... I'm not excluding that as an option. They could do that. But what I'm more curious about is the ability itself, right? So, I don't know if this is me, it's like a personal thing, but when it says curse, I assumed the curse wasn't going to be good. Like, I assumed the curse wouldn't be good, but apparently the curse is good and the blessing's also good. So, I'm not sure what to think about that. Personally, I don't know if this is a stupid idea or not, you let me know. I'm wondering what would happen if you let the opponent pick the curse, but you still pick the blessing as a way to change Renfri. Maybe that's not the greatest idea, because it, like, you lose some control, but... And then, like, you don't always get what you want, but, I mean, it could be interesting, at least, as an option. I know there's other options, like, you could also just go through and nerf every single one of the curses and blessings. That seems pretty excessive. Quick shout out, by the way, to Renfri's gang, while we're talking about Renfri. Can't forget this as the highest tempo thinning card in the game, outside of No Radiant Justice, Wall of Dwarf was out, and Tomahawk Volunteers, as far as I can tell. Shout out to that, even better than Blightmaker and Mage Assassin. So back to Renfri. Yeah, I think we'll see if they do provision or power change. I'm not sure it'll be enough. As far as her ability, I'm not sure. Like I said, the thought crossed my mind of letting the opponent pick the curse. I'm not sure what else. The other thing is they could go through and nerf all of the abilities, but then again, that's going to be kind of hard to do. They could also change her requirements, is the last thing. I've heard this mentioned, like make you play so many bandits as an idea. I'm not super sold on that. What might be more interesting is, I don't know if they could change something there. I think that her condition is probably going to stay the same. The only thing I could say is that if replaying her is such an issue, which I think a lot of people are bothered by, just give her Doomed on deploy. I don't see a problem with that one, right? If they take an extra turn to purify the Doomed off of her, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't mind that. It's not too bad. And the only ones really creating a whole bunch of copies tend to be Double Cross, and that's because your opponent has it in their hand, and that's what Double Cross functions. So, like, that's not going to help too much there, but it will help. They'll have to purify off with their run it in Imperial Divine or purify off Renfri's Doomed before they shuffle it back in. It's not a bad idea, I've heard as well. And then anything that changes game mechanics, I don't think they're going to do. So, like, there's not going to be a, once you've used Siri, your hero power, when I say Siri, once you've used Renfri, your hero power is not going to change again. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. But I think the most reasonable thing is probably just give her Doomed, which we'll see about. Just give her Doomed, and then they'll probably change provisions or power. Maybe something else, we'll see. But I don't think it'll be too crazy. Just, personally, it's really boring when, was it 87% of my decks I go against Sorcerer, Scratchlaw, and Renfri. Was a 5 out of 6. That's kind of crazy. If you guys look at the videos I make, a lot of the time you'll notice that there's different decks in them. It's not just all Renfri. It's because a lot of times I cut out those games when they're super lame or boring. Yeah, so I tend to end up doing that quite a bit because I don't want the videos just to be like 10 games of the same thing. Which is my perspective coming at this, is it's really boring facing Renfri a whole bunch of the time. But I don't care too much, except for the fact that it keeps making me edit the videos extra to find unique opponents. But what are you going to do? I'll see what they are going to do about it. We'll see what you guys think. Let me know what you think. Oh, let me know about the new intro, too. I am not super done with it yet. I could make some changes, but I did have some fun making that. It took a long time, though, which is why this video took longer than expected to come out. But we're still here, still making videos. And let me know what you think. How would you change Renfri? What do you want to see changed? Let me know. That'll be it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Make sure that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And you can check out some more videos over here. And thanks for watching.